my dad and his shop, Illinois Radiator in Glen Carbon, sponsored a car, Alan Gieseking, at Highland Speedway.
Number 50.
Yes.
Yep.
We sponsored him for years. Great guy. He was only 3 feet tall, but he was a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
And the family was great. We really got along well with them. I went in the military and got out, and then, the sponsorship had faded away, and they quit racing. And so as I was looking around, I remembered them complaining all the time. They didn't have any money, and they didn't have any time. And I'm like, well, the last thing I'm going to do is build a race car and be broke and have nothing to do all the time. I said, I ain't doing that. Right. And my other thing was going to the racetrack, and I seen these families, and I wanted kids real bad when I was younger, and I thought, I don't want my kids to hate me when we grow up, because the only thing I ever did was drag them to the racetrack. Because if you're going to be in that, it has to be something that's in your blood, and it's got to be, the whole family has to really enjoy it, or you're going to have some resentment there from your kids and your wife. A lot of those guys end up in a little bit of hot water over those race cars, But around here, it seems to be most of them, the whole family gets into it, and it's a big family affair, and they're all working on the car. If they're not working on it, they're cleaning the car. And then as time went on, and we opened our business, Horton's Auto and Outdoor, the need, the want to have a sponsored car was growing, and I was like, I really want to have a sponsored car because I really enjoyed that. It makes you feel like you're part of the team. And so we looked and looked and looked. We didn't have anything, and then for a while we sponsored Bubba Pauly, who was an AMA Supercross racer. Mm-hmm. And we did him for a couple of years, and then he went on to bigger and better things, as most of them do. And now we sponsor. This year is the first year we sponsor Ryan Hamilton out of Fairview Heights,
right?
Number 58, and he is 16 years old. I mean, the kid just got his driver's license. He's been racing for 12 years. This boy lets it hang out there like a pro. I mean, we went and seen him last Saturday night in Highland, and he put on a show. He didn't do real well, but he was right in the thick of that packet. I mean, 16 years old. Most 16 years old are scared to get behind the wheel and go across town. And this kid's out there flinging around on this racetrack like a pro. So that's really fun to do. I do like the sponsor side of it.
Just to continue the talk about Ryan, the class that he competes in, the Pro Modifieds or the B Modifieds, depending on which track you're at, depends on what they call them. But it's such a competitive class that you can win one night and not even make the show the next. Ryan, just a few weeks ago, won his first ever main event in this class at the Fayette County Raceway in Brownstown, Illinois.
Right. Yeah, so, we've seen he posted
he's going to go places.
Yeah. Yeah, he really, I mean, when you're talking about raw talent, you can be a good race car driver. Don't get me wrong. You can really work on honing your skills and become better. But then you have kids like Ryan that just have a raw talent for driving. Mm-hmm. And I can really see it in his driving ability. Even though it's early on for his adult racing career, he's really coming up fast and doing things that I didn't think were possible out of a 16-year-old. I mean, the kid doesn't even know how to make a complete stop at a stop sign yet. He's out there driving a race car a couple nights a week. And that's really great. Now, earlier you talked about you have to have a black hat, you have to have a white hat. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you on that. I think we've lost. It used to be when I was a kid, you were a Jeff Gordon fan, or you were a Dale Earnhardt fan.
Right.
Now I was a Jeff Gordon fan. I wasn't a big fan of Dale Earnhardt, but Jeff Gordon was not the guy I rooted for all the time. Only as I got older I had to, because my driver, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, he quit racing.
Right.
But his son's out there now, so I root for him again. But I was a Coors number 9 Silver Bullet boy, and I really enjoyed that. And if you don't, I mean, nowadays people they get nasty about, this person and that person. I don't like that driver. He's the dumbest person. I mean, they use really some foul language.
Yeah, isn't Facebook a great thing?
Yeah, and we never did that when if I'm sitting next to you and I don't like your driver, man, I'm nudging on you going, look at that idiot. He can't even get her past second place. He ain't going to catch my guy. You make fun of each other, but nobody was calling nobody no bad names and making it really, personal. I mean, nowadays they get a little too personal with that stuff, and I don't think there's a good base of, for lack of a better term, Chevy versus Ford. Earnhardt versus Gordon. We don't have those days anymore where you're going to sit on the couch and make fun of each other's drivers and what they're doing wrong. Now everybody, like you say, Facebook, boy, they get on there and, man, these Facebook warriors, them keyboard warriors, they get on there and they say some nasty stuff to each other. I'm thinking,
but the racers usually stay out of it. The racers usually stay out of it.
Yeah, they do. They do a pretty good job. Now, I think that there needs to be a little bit more colorful competitiveness back in the sport.
And I agree.
I think they've gotten too many rules, and they've almost made it not fun. And I think that they need to pull the reins back on the technology and let these guys go out there and run what they can build. And one of the things I've always said that I never have agreed with is I never agreed with one man owning 10 cars. And, and this guy owns 12. Because then it just becomes a race of the wallet. Mm-hmm. You're not racing out there. Yeah, I know they're stock cars and they're supposed to be equal and stuff, but when you got the most money, you can buy the best parts. And when you got the most money, you can rent the best tracks for a month and stay out there and test and tune all week long before you go to that track. And it's not fair to the guys that are one shop, one shop, one car, one driver, and a pit crew. I think if they want to, they always want to make these rules in NASCAR, and they change things all the time. Some of them just don't make sense. If they want to do something really big, I think they should just have one car, one driver, and one owner. And if we go back to that, I think we'd have a much more interesting racing, and it wouldn't be the same 5 guys at the top of the top every time you turn around. So that that's why I like the dirt series. Those guys are out there; they're all equally broke.
Right?
They got. Hey man, you got. And what I do now. This is one of the best things about dirt car racing. You can have your biggest enemy out there, and you can go out there on a heat race and blow a radiator hose, and you can go up to that dude and say, man, do you got a radiator hose for me? Yeah, I got one. Because he wants to beat you. He don't want to forfeit.
Right.
He wants to beat you on the dirt. So if he can give you a radiator hose and then make you look twice as bad on a part that he got, that's what he wants to do. He wants to make you look bad. There's no doubt about it. But he don't want to do it on a forfeit. He wants to race you out there and stomp you into the dirt with a race car. Not with, I beat him because he couldn't get back to the track. Well, I win. That I don't think that they get a lot of that, in other sports, but in the dirt car racing, it seems like you can get a part from anybody just so you can go out there and race. And they kind of stick together like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, and then you'll return the favor the next time somebody
does
something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see them talking to, I'll see the older guys talking to, the street stock guys that are just starting. Say, oh, no, do this, no. Yeah, do this way. And you'll see them come out the next week, and a guy that maybe had his tires pumped up to 40 pounds comes out and he's running with 26 pounds now or 20 pounds. He's like, hey, my car handled a lot better. Well, you had too much air in your tires, or you had your timing retarded. Won't take much. You need to advance a little bit and give your car. Yeah, it's going to overheat a little bit, but it ain't going to overheat till the end of the race. So use the power while you got it. And I see them out there talking like this back and forth. These guys. Texas had an interesting concept on end of season finale racing, and I don't know all the ins and outs of how it worked, but this is basically the gist of it. You're the last place guy. I'm the first place guy. I win that night. I win the points. Okay. And you're dead last. If we're in I'm trying to get this right now because I know somebody will call me out on it. If you're in a late model, okay, which I don't know what they call out there, and we pay the most money to race because it's the biggest class, you get my engine. Okay. Now you got to buy it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you get it because my engine, one, and won the points, so you get that. Now, in the bomber class, like the bumblebee class I like to call them, you had to give up your carburetor to that guy that lost.
Interesting.
So it was really neat. And I think what it does is the next season, now this guy's not dead last. He might not be first, but now he's learning and he's coming up. And I always thought that was really neat that they did that to give those guys an edge, you know? Because you can't have the same guy out there running first place all the time. I mean, eventually he's going to get old and die, and then, you know, that's the only way you're going to get people to move up. And I think they wanted to mix it up a little bit, and they did that. Now, like I was saying, you had to buy the parts, but they weren't top dollar parts. You know what I'm saying? I think it was $500 for the engine. When you got the engine, I think it was $100 for the carburetor. You know, so you had to give it up, and
so a claim of some sort.
Yeah, and that was really incredible. I thought, man, that's the best thing I've ever seen at a racetrack, because now, like I say, next year when they come out, it's gonna. And I don't think, do they do that anywhere around here? Do they have anything like that?
Not around here anymore, but when the modified division first started to become a thing in the early 90s, it was under a different sanction.
Oh, okay.
Under the IMCA, International Motor Competition Association, I believe is what the acronym is for. Now it's UMP, United Midwestern Promoters.
Okay, yeah.
But with the IMCA, they did have a claim, and for the big shows, there was an automatic claim of, I think it was $500. It didn't include anything above the manifold, but $500 on the block and all the rotating parts on the inside, and you'd claim the top 3 spots. You had the opportunity to buy it back, but the guy that finished last also had a chance to put in a bid on it instead of a claim. It was more of an auction.
Right.
And the only time I can remember it ever happening was at the claim part of it, the auction part, was at one of the big races at the very end of the year at Peebly, Missouri. Not long after that, the whole claim concept degenerated into a grudge claim where, well, I don't like you, so I'm going to take your motor. The next week, well, I'm feuding with you, so I'm going to take it right back. And that's kind of how that fell out of favor.
Right, right.
At least around here.
Okay, all right. So, now how many races do you do a weekend? Do you...
Well, if the weather cooperates, usually 2 a weekend. Friday nights at Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, or Pontoon Beach, technically. And then Saturday nights, Highland Speedway, Madison County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
And if by some chance there's a special event somewhere, maybe I'll go to Brownstown, maybe I'll go somewhere else, but let's count on 2.
So is Highland, Pontoon Beach, Brownstown, are those really the 3 around here that most people gravitate towards when they're racing dirt series?
There's also a track in Belleville and a track in Peebly, Missouri. So those 5 tracks are the core.
Or the ones that they kind of gravitate to.
Right. There are some of our racers around locally that like the track in Macon, Illinois, which is just south of Decatur.
Okay.
Others enjoy going to Jacksonville on Friday nights, but they're also a fairgrounds track, so they have to work around the fair board schedule, whatever they have. So most Friday nights, but not all. So you get a little variety that way. But yeah, for the most part, Tri-City and Granite City, Highland in Highland, Belclair Speedway on the fairgrounds in Belleville, and then I-55 Raceway in Peebly, which only started their season midway due to all the flooding. The track was fine, you just couldn't get to it.
You couldn't get to it.
Right.
So tell everybody what the name of your show is on the radio and what time you're on.
Let's Talk Racing. It's kind of the whole concept, let's talk plants, or let's talk politics, or let's talk whatever. So let's talk racing when we're talking racing. It floats around, but it's always on a Wednesday, usually the last Wednesday of the month, but that can vary as well depending on when certain guests are available, or if there's big events coming up like the Indy 500, for example. We'll try and go the week beforehand just to give a preview. But yeah, during the 11 o'clock hour on a Wednesday, usually near the end of the month, on 94.3 FM, 1570 AM. AltonDailyNews.com is where we stream it live, and we also have the app. Look for the Big Z and wherever you get your apps.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, if you guys like tonight's show, tell me in the comments below. subscribe. Please subscribe. Now listen, I know what you're thinking. It costs money. Don't be a cheapskate. It's free. I mean, you can't get any less than that. It's free. Free. And give me a thumbs up. Okay? I mean, these things are like the Fonz. Hey, remember him? Hey. I can't do it as cool as he did, but he did the thumbs up thing. So give me the thumbs up thing. You got it? All right. Hey, we had a good time tonight here with Doug Jenkins from Let's Talk Racing over at the Big Z. Check out the show. And remember, we'll be here next week doing it again. Don't miss us. Bye.